Astronomical Year in Review. Let's see what are these astronomical events that we're going to remember from this 2024. This is Boring Astronomy, and I'm Alessandro, your astronomer next door.
Boring Astronomy.
In case you're wondering, I'm Alessandro. I have been in astronomy for the past 20 years, and I'm here to share with you some things that I've learned during my journey. As many of us do at the end of the year, we look back and check what were the highlights of our year. In astronomy, I know that, for example, Dr. Becky has done this, so if you care, go and check her video because it's very good. And if you see that there's no real overlap between the two of us, is because, as a recurring joke of mine goes, if you put 5 astronomers in a room and you ask them about one topic, you're going to get 6 opinions. So if I had to start thinking about this year, obviously my highlight would be this channel and my newsletter. In case you are not subscribed neither to the channel or to the newsletter, you should. So go and click, and the link to the newsletter is going to be in the comments. But let's go into the first of the top 5 astrophysical events, in my opinion. The first one was just a few days ago. The Parker Solar Probe became the human-made object which arrived the closest to the Sun, only 6 million kilometers. It may sound ridiculous to say that 6 million kilometers is the closest, but in fact the previous record was 40 million kilometers. And with 6 million kilometers, the Parker Solar Probe was literally diving into the hot plasma which is coming out from the Sun. The data are going to be sent to Earth like tomorrow. I'm recording this on the 30th of December, so tomorrow we're going to get the data, and I guess the science team of the Parker Solar Probe is going to work on this data for at least the next year. And certainly this is going to be, for heliophysicists, one of the highlights of the decade, if not of the century. Still speaking about the Sun, here goes the second astrophysical event of the year, and this was the solar maximum that we experienced early this year. Many of us know about, I guess if you're following this channel you probably are aware that the Sun follows 11 years period. Every 11 years the Sun inverts its magnetic field, and the maximum of the activity of the Sun was earlier this year. And in May we received a series of solar storms which gave rise to a series of beautiful aurorae, and people were able to see the northern lights all the way down to the Canary Islands. If you care to hear more about solar astronomy and heliophysics, I suggest you check out Charlotte Waterfall. I'll put a link to her Instagram channel in the comments. If we go really at the beginning of the year, it was the 31st of January when the eROSITA team made public its first data release. Why is this important, and why this qualifies as the third highlight of the year in astronomy from my perspective? eROSITA is an instrument on a Russian-German mission. It's called Spectrum Röntgen Gamma mission. From the way the mission has been arranged, the eastern galactic sky belongs to Russia and the western galactic sky belongs to Germany. And the Germans made public the first pass of the survey of their half of the sky. And they made it public, as I said, 31st of January. And people have already started to analyze this data. There's some very beautiful papers which came out of this, and they are really interesting. If you think that the predecessor of eROSITA was HOSAT in the 90s, and papers from HOSAT were still published like a couple of years ago, you can realize that eROSITA is going to give X-ray astronomers work for many years ahead. Only the half German sky has more than 10 times the sources that HOSAT had. Unfortunately, the mission is in safe mode since February 2022, since Russia invaded Ukraine and there are sanctions against Russia. So hopefully, most importantly for the people living in Ukraine, things will normalize and get better, and we in our little world will be able to get new eROSITA data, which are so beautiful and so interesting. The fourth highlight of astronomy of 2024, from my perspective, is the enhanced star formation of galaxies at very, very high redshift. This is not completely surprising, right? So the James Webb Space Telescope has been built to study galaxies which are very, very far away. So one of the big obvious questions was, do these galaxies behave like the galaxies in our neighborhood? And one of the things which was found is that apparently there are more bigger galaxies at high redshift than expected from our theory. And I'm sharing with you a paper by Steven Finkelstein, and I think it's particularly relevant. It's the complete sample of galaxies that they studied from a series of observations with JWST, and they notice the problems that these observations arise. They have done a fantastic job both at studying the properties of the galaxies at this very, very high redshift, but also a very good job at putting together what could be wrong of the observations. There's very little wrong with the observations, but there could be a lot wrong with what we know and what we think we know about galaxies at high redshift. So this is certainly going to be work that is going to keep people busy at least for the next decade. And the fifth highlight of 2024 in astronomy, and in my opinion is the most important event of 2024, is the General Assembly of the International Astronomical Union in South Africa. The International Astronomical Union, IAU, has been existing for 105 years, and this was the first time it hosted a General Assembly in South Africa. To give you a feeling of how successful it was, there were 2,648 people attending, coming from 109 different countries. Another important thing, the IAU General Assembly was held in hybrid format. This is very important and very useful for the future of astronomy and the future of astronomical conferences. Having conferences only in person clearly creates problem for people who just don't have the economic means to attend a conference in another continent or a country far, far away. So the idea that something as important as the IAU General Assembly being done hybrid, this is a very good example, and hopefully many more people, many more organizers will keep this in mind for the coming years. So, what do you think was the highlight in astronomy and astrophysics of 2024? What do you think? If you care, let me know in the comments down here. And if you liked the video, click on like, subscribe, watch other videos, and hope you enjoyed 2024, and see you in 2025. Ciao, get bored.